I'm Vincent D. Russo. I'm 106 years old, and my son didn't speak to me for 2 years. Not a phone call, not a birthday card, nothing. You want to know what I did? I fell in love. At 71 years old, I fell in love with a woman named Gloria, and she was black, and my son Enzo Jr. couldn't handle it. Told me I was disrespecting his mother's memory, said things I won't repeat, and then he stopped talking to me completely. I could have backed down. I could have let him guilt me into being alone for the rest of my life, but I didn't. And after 2 years, he came back. He apologized, and we had 31 more years together before he passed last year. Some of the best years we ever had. I've been married twice. I've buried 2 wives. I've raised 2 children, mostly alone. And I'm going to tell you the secret to a happy life. It's not what you think. It's not about avoiding conflict or keeping everyone happy. The secret is this: you have to be brave enough to lose what you love. You have to learn when to say no to the people you die for. And you have to understand that love doesn't mean rescuing people from their own lives. Let me start with my first wife, Anna Maria. We got married in 1945. She wore a yellow dress because her mother couldn't afford white fabric after the war. She sang while she hung the laundry. Couldn't carry a tune in a bucket, but she sang anyway. We had 6 years together. In 1951, she died of a brain aneurysm, just collapsed in the kitchen, gone before the ambulance arrived. I had 2 kids. Enzo Jr. was 4, Lucia was 2. My sister Rosa moved in with us, called me stupido every time I tried to cook or put Lucia's dress on backwards. After Anna Maria died, I didn't date for 20 years. 20 years! Not because I was being noble. I was terrified. The pain of losing her was so big that I just shut that part of myself down. I threw myself into work fixing shoes, raising my kids, going to Mass, and I was lonely every single day. That's not living. That's hiding. I was so busy protecting myself from pain that I forgot how to be fully alive. Lucia told me years later that she always felt like she was living with a ghost, not her mother's ghost, mine. I was haunting my own life. So here's the first thing. You cannot protect yourself from loss. I tried. It doesn't work. You just end up losing time, losing possibilities, losing the chance to be fully human. Love requires courage. The courage to know that everyone you love will either leave you or die, and to love them anyway. In 1991, I met Gloria at the senior center. She was 65, playing cards, and she laughed, and I hadn't heard a laugh like that in 40 years. We got to talking. She loved Nat King Cole. I loved Sinatra. We argued about it for 33 years, never settled it. My family lost their minds. Lucia said, "Dad, you deserve to be happy." But Enzo Jr. acted like I'd committed a crime. "What will people say?" he kept asking. And I finally said, "Enzo, I'm 71 years old. I don't have time to worry about what people think. Your mother's been gone for 40 years. She wouldn't want me to die alone just to make you comfortable." That's when he stopped speaking to me. Those 2 years were hard. Every birthday, every Christmas, I'd want to reach out. Gloria would say, "Just call him." And I'd say, "If I back down now, I'm teaching him that he can control me with silence. That's not love. That's manipulation." Then one day Enzo Jr. showed up at my door. "Dad, I'm sorry. Can I meet Gloria?" And I introduced them, and they loved each other. If I had caved during those 2 years, if I had apologized for falling in love, we wouldn't have had those 31 years, because the relationship would have been built on me sacrificing my life to manage his feelings. And that's not love. That's a hostage situation. You can love someone and still maintain distance. You can love someone with your whole heart and still say, "I'm not available for this kind of treatment." Real love includes boundaries. Now, let me tell you about money. Over about 15 years, I gave my son roughly $80,000. Started in 1989. He needed $15,000. That was a year of my salary. But he's my son, right? So I gave it. He said he'd pay me back in 6 months. He never did. Then 1992, another $8,000. Then 1995, another $12,000. Smaller amounts after that. And every time he'd say, "I'll pay you back." And I believed him, or pretended to. Here's what was really happening. I was trying to buy his love. I felt guilty about those 20 years I was emotionally absent after his mother died. I felt guilty about marrying Gloria. I thought money could fix it. But money doesn't fix relationships. Money introduces math where there used to be just love. Every time I gave him money, I kept a mental ledger. Every time he didn't pay me back, I resented him more. Gloria finally said to me in 2004, "Vincent, you're not helping him. You're enabling him." And I got mad. I said, "He's my son. What am I supposed to do?" And she said, "Let him learn to stand on his own." In 2005, Enzo Jr. came to me again, needed $10,000, and for the first time in 16 years, I said no. I said, "Enzo, I love you, but I can't do this anymore. I've given you everything I have, and it hasn't helped you." My answer is no. He was furious. "After all you've done for me?" I said, "That's exactly why I'm saying no. Everything I've done hasn't taught you to stand on your own." He said, "What kind of father refuses to help his son?" I said, "The kind who loves you enough to let you fall." He didn't speak to me for 3 months, and it killed me. Gloria wouldn't let me back down. She'd say, "Hold the line. This is love." He figured it out, sold the fancy house, got a smaller place, started living within his means. About a year later, he called and said, "Dad, you were right. I needed to hear no." 20 years later, before he died, he told me that was the moment our relationship really started. Not all those years of me giving him money, the moment I said no. Helping isn't the same as rescuing. When you help someone, you're supporting them while they do the work. When you rescue them, you're doing the work for them. And when you rescue people from consequences, you're stealing their chance to grow up. Here's what you say: "I love you," and my answer is no. That's it. You don't have to explain or justify. "I love you," and my answer is no. They're going to push back. "After all I've done for you?" I can't believe you'd abandon me. And you say, I love you, and my answer is still no. The guilt trap is real. Once people know guilt works on you, they'll use it forever. The only way to break that cycle is to feel the guilt and say no anyway. You're not abandoning them, you're releasing them. You're giving them the dignity of solving their own problems. Now let me tell you about carrying your dead. When Anna Maria died, I tried to forget her, packed up everything, gave it all away within a month. I thought that's what you were supposed to do. Move on. What I learned over 40 years is that you don't forget the people you love. You carry them. Anna Maria loved yellow flowers. For 70 years, I've kept yellow flowers in my house. Always, that's how I carry her. When I married Gloria, I told her about the yellow flowers, and Gloria said, I'm not trying to replace her, I'm just trying to love you. And she bought yellow flowers, too. Put 'em right next to her own fresh flowers every week. Grief isn't something to overcome. It's proof you loved. The grief is the evidence of love. So you don't get over it. You integrate it. You make room for it without letting it run your life. I held Gloria's hand when she died. January 2024. Lung cancer. We knew it was coming for 6 months. And the whole time, I kept thinking about those 20 years I'd wasted being too scared to love again. 20 years trying to protect myself from this exact moment. And the moment came anyway. Here's what I told her at the end. Gloria, I'm going to miss you every day for the rest of my life, but I'd do it all again. Every argument about Sinatra and Nat King Cole, every Sunday dinner, I'd do it all again, knowing how it ends. And she smiled and said, Vincent, you finally learned something. Love isn't about protecting yourself. Love is about being brave enough to lose. When you understand that, you become free, free to love completely, free to be vulnerable. Now, about forgiveness. When Enzo Jr. said those things about Gloria, I was furious. For months, I was so angry I couldn't see straight. I'd lay awake imagining what I'd say to him. Holding a grudge is like carrying hot coals. You're the one who gets burned. Rosa asked me, how long are you going to stay angry? I said, until he apologizes. She said, stupido, you could be dead before that happens. You want to die angry? So I wrote Enzo Jr. a letter, everything I wanted to say, 3 pages, and then I burned it. Then I wrote another letter and mailed it. Enzo, I love you. I'm marrying Gloria. You don't have to approve, but when you're ready to accept that I deserve to be happy, I'll be here. 6 months later, he showed up. And when I saw him, I could have said, see, I was right. I could have made him grovel. But pride is expensive. It costs you relationships. I said, come in, meet Gloria. That's all, no lecture. Because forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about deciding that the relationship matters more than being right. Love doesn't run out. It's not pizza. The love I had for Gloria didn't take away from the love I had for Anna Maria. Love grows. Some of you need to forgive someone, and you're thinking you don't know what they did. You're right, but I know what carrying that anger is doing to you. Forgiveness doesn't mean saying what they did was okay. It means saying, I'm not going to let what you did control my life anymore. Here's how. Write the letter, everything you want to say. Then decide if you send it or burn it. Either way, you're releasing it from your body. Then practice. I forgive you, not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. About family guilt. Family guilt is manipulation dressed up as tradition, but we've always done it this way. But family comes first. Those aren't reasons. Those are control tactics. My daughter Lucia calls me every Sunday, has for 60 years. But there have been Sundays when I've said, Lucia, I love you, but I can't talk today. I'm tired. And she says, okay, Dad, I'll call you Wednesday. No guilt trip, just okay. That's healthy family. You can say, I can't today, and the other person respects it. If your family can't handle you having boundaries, that's a them problem, not a you problem. Here's what you say, I love you, and I'm not available for that, or I understand you're disappointed, and my answer is still no. You're acknowledging their feelings without changing your answer. You can be loving and firm at the same time. They're going to test you. First time you set a boundary, they're going to push harder. They're going to say, you've changed. And you say, you're right. I have. I've learned to take care of myself. Here's what I wish I'd known. Love is not the same as sacrifice. Being a good father doesn't mean giving my kids everything. It means teaching them to stand on their own. Grief is not weakness. Saying no is an act of love. Forgiveness is for you, not for them. You can love someone and still keep your distance. And happy doesn't mean easy. My happiest years were with Gloria, and they were hard. We argued. We disagreed. We challenged each other. But we were alive. We were real with each other. Here's what I know at 106. The secret to a happy life is being brave enough to live fully, love completely, and lose gracefully. You will lose. Everyone loses. And once you accept that, you're free. My son died last year at 81. In his last month, he said, Dad, thank you for saying no to me. Thank you for loving Gloria. Thank you for showing me that love doesn't run out. And I said, I screwed up a lot. And he said, yeah, but you kept trying. That's what matters. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep trying. Keep being honest. Keep being brave. Keep loving, even though you know how it ends. So here's what I need you to do this week. Pick up the phone and call someone you love. Not text. Call. Hear their voice. Tell them you love them. If there's someone you've been avoiding because you need to have a hard conversation, call them too. Have the conversation. If you've been enabling someone, stop. If you've been carrying a grudge, put it down. If you've been saying yes when you mean no, practice saying no. If you've been protecting yourself from love because you're scared of loss, take the risk. Life is short. Even at 106, I'm running out of time. Don't waste it being scared. Don't waste it being angry. Choose love every time. Love isn't about never saying no. Love is about saying no when you need to and staying loving while you do it. That's the secret. Now go call someone you love today